stop to think that our way of understanding the universe might just be one way? Well, today, we're going to take everything we know about science, just for a moment, and step into a world that sees things completely differently. A world where matter isn't just dead stuff, but something alive? You know, when you think about it, our science is amazing. Look at the periodic table. It's this beautiful, elegant grid that catalogs all the building blocks of reality. We figured it out by taking things apart, right? Breaking them down to their smallest pieces to see what they're made of. It's powerful, and it's built our entire modern world. But what if that's not the only way to look at it? Let's just ask a crazy question. What if the universe isn't organized by what things are made of, but by what they're listening to? What if reality isn't a pile of bricks, but more like a giant cosmic orchestra? And that question leads us right to the heart of the Arreqqana worldview. Get this. Their founding principle is that matter is frozen resonance. It's the idea that a vibration, a song, has slowed down so much that it's become solid, something you can touch. So in their world, everything isn't made of stuff, it's made of living, breathing music.
So, okay, if the universe is an orchestra, how do you tune it? How do you even begin to organize that? Well, the Arreqqana system doesn't group elements by their components. Instead, it groups them by their behavior into families that they call threads. And each thread is like a different instrument in that cosmic symphony.
All right, let's start with the flame thread. These elements are all about change, transformation, and heat. You've got nether, which is like the pure, untamed soul of a fire. Then there's Falren, which is more like a controlled, steady burn. And then you have ignivar. That's the explosive, sudden catalyst for massive change. They're all different voices of transformation.
Next up is the river thread, and this is where things get really fascinating, because it's where science and emotion just completely merge. These elements are about flow and memory. So lurimis is a type of salt that can literally hold memories, like information stored in water. And Qhiyanuurei is a crystal that helps energy flow in a harmonious way. Yeah, in this world, matter literally has feelings. And if you thought that was wild, we've got the spirit thread. This is where the line between your mind and the physical world just evaporates. These elements respond directly to thought. Maruan is a crystal that literally reacts to your intentions. Yara is a mineral that can take a memory and crystallize it into a physical object. Here, your belief isn't just some abstract idea. It's a measurable force of nature. So we've got these two totally different ways of mapping reality. Let's actually put them side by side, because the differences go way, way deeper than just the elements themselves. Look at this table. It's just a profound difference. Our science starts with the idea that matter is inert. It's just stuff. Theirs says it's all living vibration. For us, a chemical reaction is about electrons changing places. For them, it's about whether two things are in harmony. And here's the kicker. In our science, the observer is supposed to be separate, external. For them, the scientist is a participant. They aren't just observing reality, they're helping to tune it. This one sentence, which apparently a core part of their education, just nails it. Are we just counting the instruments in the orchestra, or are we actually listening to the music? It's a huge shift from a science of quantity to a science of quality. Okay, so this is all very philosophical, but what does it actually mean in practice? How does this completely change the simple act of doing science? Well, in the Arreqqana world, the scientist isn't just a variable. They are the key to the whole experiment. Let's go back to Neddor, that pure fire essence. You can't just go mine it. You can't blast it out of a mountain with dynamite. In fact, using force would literally shatter its resonance and destroy it. No, these elements have to be coaxed, invited to show up. The procedure for getting Neddor sounds more like meditation than science. You have to approach a volcano with a calm heart. You literally sing cooling chants to soothe the raw energy of the earth. You have to banish any aggressive or forceful thoughts. Your own mind becomes the most important scientific instrument you have. The element only appears when the physical conditions and the ethical conditions are in perfect harmony. And it's the exact same principle for Valon, that resonant liquid. It only forms in the water of a spring that has never had any conflict or violence happen nearby. The emotional history of a place directly shapes the physical reality. It's pretty mind-bending. So all of this builds up to their most fundamental scientific law. You see, in our world, power often comes from applying more force, right? More fuel, more pressure. In the Arreqqana world, an element's true power, its effectiveness, is directly proportional to how gently and harmoniously it's used. Force makes the resonance collapse. Gentleness actually amplifies it. So, how can we even begin to wrap our heads around this? Let's actually try a little thought experiment, one taken straight from an Arreqqana classroom, just to get a feel for this completely different way of seeing things. So, I want you to imagine you're in that classroom right now. Your lab table isn't filled with beakers and burners. Instead, it's got things that are designed to explore energy and silence and the way everything is connected. Today's lab is called shadow wells. The whole idea is to explore something called the shadow thread, elements that absorb energy and create stillness. The goal is to prove that rest isn't just nothing happening, it's a vital, active part of any system.
The experiment is so simple. You just ring a bell on different surfaces. So you ring it on a hard table, and as you can see, the sound keeps going for a long time. The vibration just hangs in the air. Then you try it on a towel, and it fades faster. But then you ring it on a piece of foam, and the sound is absorbed almost instantly. That foam is acting as a shadow well. It's actively creating silence by absorbing the excess vibration.
And this simple little experiment brings us to the absolute core difference between these two sciences. Our science is always asking, what happens if we change this variable? What happens if we turn up the heat? Arreqqana science asks a profoundly different question. What happens if we change ourselves? And that leaves us with a really provocative question for our own world. If the observer is a participant, if their intention can change the outcome, then ethics isn't some separate field of study. It becomes a fundamental variable in the experiment. So maybe we should ask the same of our own science. Should ethics be a variable in physics? It's a question worth thinking about.